look, for 2021, we have about a quarter of our business in that we had in the previous year, so it's looking good. So I think here I am being honest with you, and I am honest. I think I'll break even in 2021, and I think there'll be a great future for any travel agents that are left in 2022.
The Architects of Business, with EY Entrepreneur of the Year, telling the inspirational stories behind Ireland's most successful entrepreneurs.
Hello and welcome to the Architects of Business, made in partnership with EY Entrepreneur of the Year, where you will hear the inspirational stories of some of Ireland's most successful entrepreneurs. I'm Sonya Lennon, broadcasting remotely at this time, and on this week's show I chat with Mary McKenna, the founder of Tour America, an Irish travel company dealing with the extraordinary challenges brought up by COVID. She talks about the future of travel and the changes that she's made to her business to lead into a predicted travel boom in 2022. If you haven't already done so, click subscribe to get brand new shows directly into your feed. Mary McKenna of Tour America, thank you so much for joining us on Architects of Business today. It's not my first time talking to you, but we thought we would bring you back in today to talk a little bit more about your story and, more importantly, your industry, the travel industry. At this time in its evolution, there is so much to discuss, but I think it's only fair to our listeners to just take a little roll back in time and tell us a little bit about how Tour America started.
You know, it's really funny that you asked this question, Sonya. I'm actually going to be 25 years in business next month. So I have done a huge amount of reflection over the last 6 months and thinking back about starting a business. And I started a business from my home in my sitting room with no money, had a great idea, had done my market research, and grew a business over the years. And, you know, I thought it was going to go like this, a straight line. And what's happened is gone up and down and up and down. And I think it's really important that you can have a good idea and grow a business, but to be resilient and agile are the most important lessons I've learned. And I have been knocked to the ground, and to pick yourself up all the time. And it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I love what I do. And it's a business that, you know, we sell dreams, we sell holidays to the States and cruises. And I know I told you this story, but Cruise Holidays started after September the 11th, where I thought I'd lost my business overnight because business stopped for 3 months. And I'm now reflecting on that time now, thinking, actually, that wasn't so bad. And how we started Cruise Holidays, because I had to let go of staff, and that really got to my core values, and dug deep, and we started Cruise Holidays, and Cruise Holidays ended up being the number one seller of cruises on the island of Ireland, and we turned over 6 million on cruises alone. And to go through then, and a cruise ship sinks, you know, and that business went down again, and then ash cloud, and then hurricanes, recession, you know, dealing with the recession and how we dealt with it. So plenty of experience. Do I look a bit battered to you?
No, you're looking okay. You look contemplative, strategic, and reflective, and I would expect no less. I have to ask you, though, this idea that any business could be linear through an unmanageable world, external world. Do you think that was a function of naivety at the time when you started?
Yes, absolutely. Without a doubt, I had no idea what was ahead of me, and I think I have really matured and grown with the business and educated myself along the way. And that's why when we talk about COVID and the way it's hit business, how I have to say, in one sense, while my industry is decimated, really how as a business we prepared for it. And that's based on past experience of things going wrong and learning. So, you know, I'm one of these grafters who've actually learned from experience, and nothing does experience you in business as an SME for what is ahead right now. But I think we've done all the right things and coped, and the company's deep enough to get through it. But again, the experience has helped me prepare. Not that I knew this was going to happen, but prepare for events like this.
So I guess experience of crisis leaves you on a better footing to deal with the next blow.
Yes, exactly. And I just have to tell you, when this all happened in March, Sonia, to be honest, I had 2 incredibly stressful weeks. And I always think I was like this swan on the river, looking very calm on the outside. And underneath it all, my feet were going mad, because you have so many things to deal with when things don't go right and business doesn't go the right direction. In particular, around your staff and dealing with human beings and managing them. And it's been a very stressful time for teams and people. Then your stakeholders and making the right decisions. So even if I was to look back over the last 6 months, I could write a book on what we did, and we did make good decisions. I didn't know they were so good at the time, but they were good decisions. And it was all based around, to be quite honest with you, your gut is always do the right thing. Do the right thing for the customer, do the right thing for the staff. And that, again, has come out of experience. The 2 things I've learned, having, gone to IMD in Switzerland, someone who didn't go to college, learning about strategy and business models and profiling people, all great. But the 2 things that I've learned in business over 25 years is the importance of really culture, people, and customers, really getting in their shoes and taking care of your customers, because I'm in a retail business. So they're the 2 things that we focused on during this crisis as well. But it has been tough, I can tell you.
I'm going to ask you in a moment about some of the right decisions that you made, to share them. But first, I'm struck, whenever I think about your story, I'm struck by the sort of foundational pieces that have driven your business forward. And at a remove, for me, they are the impact and influence of your dad, the impact and influence of sport, and your own ability to progress through continuous education, to give you that kind of value-led strategic view. And you say it yourself that you want to work on your business, not in it. How important is that sort of value system to you? And I can only imagine that it has driven some of those key decisions.
Yeah, and it does start from when you're young. And, as I said to you, I lost my dad when I was quite young. Well, I think 25 was young. He was only 55. But his core values were around honesty, integrity, not conforming. And I think that's really important, conformity. There are times in life when you can ignore something or do the right thing. And I do the right thing. And sometimes I can pay the price for it because it's not going with the crowd or doing different things. But somewhere inside me, and from what my father gave, were there those core values: always do the right thing, always be kind. And I think COVID has brought around a bit more of community, but he definitely gave me those core values. He was a good man. He was a hardworking man, a successful man. He was a great father who, loved us dearly. And I think, having a 12-year-old boy myself now, I'm saying you don't have to follow the crowd. You can just, do the right thing. You don't have to, if your friend jumps in the fire, you don't have to jump after him. What are your core values? What's important to him? They were my basic foundations. Look, Sonia, I'm like everybody. I'm a human being. I don't get things right all the time. I make mistakes. But fundamentally, I always try to do the right thing.
And so what were those decisions? What can you look back on 20 years time and say, that was the right thing to do for my business, for my customers, for all the stakeholders?
Yeah, so a lot of things that when I think about the 18th of March, when I turned the key on the door on Abbey Street, we had 2 offices there, an office in Orlando and an office down in Cork. I think about standing in front of my staff a couple of days before saying, I don't really know what's happening, but I'll keep communicating, keep talking to you. This will end. You have to trust in me as your leader to try and get us out of this. And it's going to be a bit painful. But when we closed the doors on the 18th of March, I thought about other people in the journey, and in particular around customers and customers' frustration. So a lot of people weren't talking about refunds and what was due to customers. So we came out very clear with, a customer is 100% entitled to a full refund. Whether that throws you over the edge or not, that's the fact of the matter, and how we deal with customers. So when the 18th of March happened to every other business in this country, if it was a pub, a coffee shop, they could stop, close, not pay salaries anymore. We didn't have that situation, because in the travel business, we had to continue to take care of existing customers who were traveling in 6 months' time or in a year's time. And then we had to give back all the money we took in that we previously had overheads. And it was how, if every travel agent stopped on the 18th of March and said, actually, we're going to be like every other industry and we're not going to work. Then you would have had huge problems with customers looking for refunds, which they kind of have with airlines. But we decided we'd manage it well. We'd put up messages on social media. Our office isn't open. And I did videos to customers, honest videos saying, I don't know what the story is here. We haven't got refunds in this, but we're working on your behalf. We're doing different things. But we're there for you. You can talk to us. You can talk to us on the phone. We don't want you coming into the office because of safety reasons. We're on social media. So doing all the right things. And the other thing then, I had to think about a business for the future. So the first lesson that you learn very quickly is take your overheads down. So, and you just don't go ahead and do that. You have to think of your stakeholders. So, for example, I rang every person that we deal with and said, where can we work? What way can you cut your fees down? And so, for example, my technology company, which is a huge expense, you need technology to keep going. They need to keep going as well. So we agreed a 50% reduction. Some success with landlords, some not. But I did speak to every single stakeholder. I spoke to the team. We had to put half our team on the COVID payment, which, it's not nice for staff because they don't like uncertainty. Everybody likes certainty in life. So it was, constantly doing the Zoom calls, constantly answering the questions that customers wanted to know honestly. So, for example, Virgin Atlantic were very slow in giving back refunds. And because we're a licensed and bonded travel company, like all travel companies, the 200 in Ireland, that means a customer's money is financially protected. But if you haven't got a refund in, it's bad enough giving back all the money that you have, but if you haven't got it in, you're at a double loss. So what we did is we gave out a voucher, a license and bonded voucher, and said, Sonya, here's your €1,000. That means it's protected. There's a guarantee it'll be paid within 6 months. And we want to give you the correspondence from Virgin Atlantic to show you that Tour America or Cruise Holidays are working on your behalf. Here's the date they said, or they said 120 days. So we were transparent. And actually, that's all people wanted was tell me what's happening, talk to me, and let me know. And I think we did that very well. And we had very good comments on Facebook. And now as a leader, right, I'm looking back saying, because the other thing I called on very early, and it wasn't really to do with, the seriousness of COVID. I thought in March that July and August might not give a customer 100% that they thought they would get. Something might not be 100%. So I spoke to the team and I said, well, I want you to contact every customer traveling in July and August. Now, this is against my own industry because they needed travel to happen. And I was saying, okay, and I did too. But I said, I don't think they're going to get 100%. And I said, I don't like doing this, but let's contact every single customer and move them to next year, offer them next year. And we did that months out. So I actually, as a business person, said, I'm actually writing off 2020, which is, it's going to be huge losses, but made that call early, did the figures on it, said, let's plan for 2021, maybe Christmas time. So looking back now, they were good decisions.
In terms of that nonconformity piece, that's something that we don't teach kids in school. We teach them to learn by rote, to follow the crowd, even educationally, never mind their own external behaviours. And school wasn't a particularly comfortable place for you. So do you think there's a slight relationship in there between, how school was for you and your ability to non-conform?
Yeah, I think, and I remember being at an Enterprise Ireland Day, and they had a speaker talk about kids and innovation and creativity. And they said, if you think of children up to the age of 3 and 4, they have so much innovation and creativity. And then between 4 and 8, it goes down to 30%. And then between 8 and 14, it goes down. And actually, it's only the 1%. When that's all about conformity, because we get them to conform in schools. And we don't, looking back, I obviously had a talent, but it wasn't there in school, but I did, and it's funny when I found what I loved, even, when I went to study and I got my pilot's license, even though I've never flown a plane, I still scored the best results, so it's the ability to find what is it that makes us tick, and conformity in terms of, if you look at entrepreneurs or the top entrepreneurs, none of them really do conform if you think about them.
No, agreed. I remember seeing an experiment years ago to determine the characteristic of an entrepreneur, and they asked teams, some teams who weren't entrepreneurial and some who were, to find a way to get to jettison an egg off a second story of a building without breaking it. And the team who weren't entrepreneurs spent hours trying to manufacture these sort of padded hammocks for the eggs. The entrepreneurs just threw the eggs off the building. It's like, well, look, they're going to end up at the bottom. It doesn't matter if they break. And I think that's very much the kind of spirit which is, look, encapsulated by all the alumni of EY Entrepreneur of the Year. But let's have a look at what the reality is for your business.
Yeah.
If you go back to pre-COVID, give us a snapshot of the landscape of your business.
So pre-COVID, very successful business, growing. We turned over 22 million, really good profits. We've had, I bought out my shareholder about 5 years ago, and I felt, I could really grow the business, and that's, it has grown profit-wise. So, and it has been profitable since day one. The first year of business, Sonya, I turned over in 1996, £3 million. And I can tell you, my office was disgusting. Everything was awful in it, secondhand furniture. And we made £69,000 profit because I ran it. Okay, well, there are the overheads. This is what, very simple. This is the margin. These are the overheads. And so I was able to bring in the last 5 years a lot of different ideas about the customer net performing scores. How do we make ourselves different? What's our value proposition? How can we upskill our staff? How can I get them not to conform? Think outside the box. How do I get creative people really working around that? How do I find this?
How do you do that? So you live it, you breathe it, that non-conformity is running through your veins. How do you encourage your team to think like that?
Yes, so you ask, the questions are you ask the right questions. And first of all, there are some people in life, and you have to accept this, that there's different functions they like doing. They like going into the office every day at 9 o'clock and leaving 5 o'clock. That's it. There are some people, why am I here? Does anyone care? How can I do better? And, that you need to look at. So the signals are there. So for me, when I'm interviewing, I don't even need to look at a CV. Just show me a hunger and a passion and a desire to grow and learn. So the things I look for are people who want to develop themselves. That's the first thing I look at. So when I say, look, I'll pay for any course, those people who jump at them, I'm saying, God, yeah, they really want to develop themselves. And then it's my job as a leader to make sure I don't leave someone in the corner, that I'm spotting this, talent spotting. Now, I probably was okay at the beginning, but so, and it's also, the ability to deal with underperformers and say, you're actually not delivering this, I see you, what do you want? You want to be here, and holding people to account as well. So there is a culture. Again, McKinsey's did a great report years ago, and this is why the Leadership for Growth course happened with Enterprise Ireland, about the inability of Irish managers to deal with underperformers. And they presented to Enda Kenny at the time, and that is rampant in companies. So again, it was really looking at what every individual was bringing to the company. What can you do for the company? And look, I'm only a small business. I have 50 staff. But I was getting to the stage where I was enjoying that and growing that and developing myself. And, I studied NLP and emotional intelligence and worked with a business coach at the Alternative Board. So I'm held accountable because, again, I had to look at my own weaknesses, and I was getting away with murder and nobody was challenging me. So you have to be challenged as a leader, and I have to look at myself and say, what are my weaknesses and who's going to challenge me personally? So yeah, it's having a team. You need different types of personalities. You need different types of people. And that's what I recognized as well. You don't need all Mary McKennas in the company. We get nowhere.
So that team of 50 people, a burgeoning business run in a lean and strategic way.
Yeah.
What does the business look like now?
So it's going to have, for the first time in 25 years, 2020 accounts will show massive losses. And it's not something you like to see, but there's nothing I could do about that. But we're a good, deep business with cash flow. So I have to accept it, which I found very hard, Sonya. But there was nothing I could do on that. We have to do all the right things. So, and look at the future. So on March, I set up straight away Zoom holidays, Zoom travel, thought, what way is travel going to look in the future? And really work around that. I have some of my team working on our website. What way can we be different? Video, because we are niche and we are personal and we want to continue that. But I don't know if retail is going to be that way in the future. I'm not Expedia. I offer great prices, great service, but it's very personalized and it's touch points. So how can I do that online, face to face? And I think it can be done. So look, for 2021, we have about a quarter of our business in that we had in the previous year. So it's looking good. So I think, here I am being honest with you, and I am honest. I think I'll break even in 2021, and I think there'll be a great future for any travel agents that are left in 2022 because we are licensed and bonded. So an airline can go bust in the morning, where a travel agent is there. They give the right prices. You can get them on the phone, and your money is protected. So I think that message never got out before. And a lot of people thought, I'd book a hotel here, I book, where if you're spending $3,500 or $4,000, there might be value to now looking at that.
So when you look forward then to that 2020 travel boom,
2022,
is it going to be 2022? Sorry, 2022. When you look forward to that 2022 travel boom, in your mind's eye, has travel changed? Because I get the sense that
it has.
Perhaps it could be a return to the elitism of travel. Is it going to be for those at the top of the pile? What does it look like to you?
No, I don't think it will be those at the top of the pile. So I think people will travel less, and and I'm all into climate change, to be quite honest as well. So I probably be one of those people who will travel less. I think what will happen is a lot of people will look at their main holiday, so they might not go away 2 or 3 times, which most Irish people were going away. So they look at one holiday, one trip, do it very well, and that's across the board. We sell holidays to everybody in Ireland, and most people want to take a holiday, and because the weather is not great in this country. So I think that will happen in the future. I think business travel will not happen in the way it did before. There is no need to have a company have an overhead of a corporate travel. So I think that will be affected, and it probably will go down to about 25%. So I think there'll be less flights from Ireland. I think that you already see a lot of the airlines have cut capacity. And Ireland, and Dublin in particular, Dublin Airport was a great hub. So all those passenger numbers that you heard going out of Dublin were coming via the UK or Europe. So Dublin was actually a hub and doing very well. And it's a great airport. So I think you see a lot of the transatlantic flights have already stopped. And so it could be more expensive to fly, or it could be cheaper again to go via the UK.
So, you are a really loud voice of your industry. We're looking at 2022 being a sort of a rebirth of this industry in a slimmed down version, perhaps, and in a slower and more considered way. How has the Irish government responded to such a sizable sector? 3,500 employees in Ireland?
Yeah, so like we're 1.4 billion of turnover in Ireland. So look, they've done some good things. The COVID payments have been good. I think the communication has been okay. But for our industry, if I compare it to other industries, we seem to be bottom of the barrel. Um, and literally no communication. I went to the Dáil with 15 people last Wednesday to give in a petition with 6,300 names, mostly employees saying, I love my job, or customers saying, I always book with a travel agent. And some ministers came out to speak to us. And I said, look, it's about action. This industry needs grants, needs support. And you can't even compare it to the Vintners Association because they could close up. We had to continue working and give back all the money. So you think of a pub, imagine if it had to give back all the money that it gave out in pints. But we don't seem to have a voice. And, I don't know why. I think there's certain industries that do get a voice, or whether they're very good at lobbying. So I've written to every minister, Sonya. I got a reply back from Leo, somebody in his office, and it had nothing to do with the letter I wrote him. I wrote him a story, just my story, saying, I'm good for the Irish economy. I'm a profitable business. You've invested in me. I want to continue growing, but I'm speaking on behalf of my industry. They're not all like me, but help them. And so for some reason, we don't have a voice. And something I've learned, Sonya, the most important thing, I know it's weird to say this, but you're on your own. You need to make the good business decisions yourself. And I'm glad, a lot of the different things I've done over the years have been the right decisions, and I'm not dependent on anyone, because I wouldn't want to be dependent on anyone. I asked a bank, the company has never had loans. We don't need cash, but I thought maybe it'd be good to have a loan approved. And so I asked our bank, and they said, yeah, sure, no problem, personal guarantee. Now, you never do a personal guarantee. So I just thought to myself, I'm so glad I don't need it. And that's what I've learned. You're on your own.
Well, amazing. I suppose we cannot not address the fact that the name of the company is Tour America.
Oh, sure.
And America is in a very fragile state at the moment. How does that work for you? And I know you're sort of building the company for its future profile. Are you concerned about the political state and the social state of the States at the moment?
I am. I'm very concerned. I watched Donald Trump with the California Governor Gavin last week or this week, and when he said to him, clearly huge amount of fires in California at the moment, more than they've ever had, and he said, he doesn't believe in climate change. I mean, that's really awful to see, and as a leader of a country like America, it's just. He's a narcissist, as far as I'm concerned. He just really cares about himself. But I do think, hopefully we have a new leader there. And but I don't know. I do think there's parts of that country that are very black and white. It's quite incredible to see when you go there. And then there are parts that are just fantastic. And California is a great state to go to. And New York, Irish people love it. There's nothing that's changed there. Florida, the Universal parks and Disney parks are great for customers, and Irish people really like it. I don't see that changing. I think a lot of people think about him as a leader, and it makes them think about going to that country. I hate saying it because this is my business, but that's a fact of the matter.
So I suppose your business is very sort of laser focused on the key destinations within the States, as opposed to a broad sweep across it, which is in a way, I suppose, your insurance policy to stay relevant to your customers.
And there's a demand for that
during this. And that's what it's all about. Have you seen a benefit of the network, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year network during this time?
Yeah, so I describe them as my tribe, and when I described how necessarily I didn't fit in school, but when I go away with these guys and I see them on WhatsApp, They are so supportive to each other, and very supportive to me personally as well. So I just find the group, I don't know how, but they are kind, good people who really watch out for each other. And I think that's incredible. And it's just like as if you took the best people in the world and put them in this group. They're very kind and they watch out for, they have everybody's back. So I think EY themselves are a great organization, and a lot of their webinars they've done have been fantastic. So yeah, I'm actually very proud to be part of it. I never thought I would be. It was something I tried for years. We won all awards, and the only award I wanted is to be recognized for the talent I thought I had, and to be in this group. And so I'm very honored, and I really enjoy the WhatsApp. I really love the support, and there's great support. And the support comes when you're down. They get behind you and really help, and that's what's lovely.
And I think it's back to how we started this conversation in terms of fit, and when the fit is right. Not everybody could fit in that group by definition. There is a certain brilliance required. Mary, you are the embodiment of that brilliance. I love talking to you. I love hearing your strategic outlook. You are now tag you're it. You're the voice of your industry. Go forth and make it better. We look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening and watching Architects of Business, made in partnership with EY Entrepreneur of the Year. Thanks to the whole team here at JOE, and of course to our entrepreneur, Mary McKenna. If you haven't already done so, click subscribe and never miss a show.